No, you sound good. Wait, say something again.
What? We could have sound checked before we recorded, guys.
Yeah, no. Yeah. The banana sounds good.
Nice.
Not as good as an apple, though.
Oh.
Apples and bananas. You don't have to... Benny just wheeled away from his microphone to eat an apple and then wheeled back. Like, you can just mute yourself while eating. And now has the just cheekiest fucking grin on it. God, I love you so much, but I don't understand you sometimes.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? It's good to see you. We've been delayed a little bit, and we are back now. But I feel like it's almost good, though. Every time we've pushed this recording aside a day or so, more news has popped up, and we're just at the point where the transfer portal, Pac-12 development, schedule releases, and all of this, stuff. It's like every day. Earlier this month, we're like, can we go like a week without something crazy happening? Nope. No, we can't.
No, we can't.
And this week, every single college football player ever is in the college football transfer portal at this moment.
Reggie Bush is too. Maybe we'll get him.
Yeah, O.J. Simpson I saw as well.
I don't want O.J. It's not worth the trouble.
I just want a white Bronco.
The new ones?
The new ones are so sick.
Yeah, they are pretty sick.
They start remaking those when the OJ 30 for 30 came out. That's the wildest marketing advantageous decision that's ever happened. We just watched an in-depth look of how this man did this. I bet people want the car he tried to escape in. And it worked.
Yeah,
Nostalgia,
the white one. The white one comes with wigs and fake passports in the backseat.
Oh my God. Efficient vehicles, though. Maybe will you get yourself one for Christmas, Benny? Is that something that you might be looking into this week?
I am looking for a new car, but I went to the dealership and saw the new Bronco and was really drawn towards it, but they're a little pricey.
The white one, especially, you were like, man, the crimes I could commit in that thing.
Right?
Oh man, no kidding. Well, it's
not the car; it's the get out of jail free card it comes with. That's so expensive. Those aren't cheap. The market value of those aren't cheap. Yeah, busy week all around. The girlfriend moved in with me this weekend, you guys.
Oh, that's why you were late.
That's not why I was late. That would have been a better excuse to me just running late. But she moved in with me on Saturday, was here for a couple days, and then immediately went down to Georgia to spend Christmas with her family. That was the plan always, but it's hard for me not to look into it and be like, so
how hard did you clean Friday?
Pretty hard. And then we moved all of her stuff here, and I'll be cleaning for the rest of my life, I guess.
Oh, the rest of your life? Are you alluding to something, Terry?
Hey, we just took one big step. We're gonna chill on this step for a little bit and enjoy the view from this step before taking other steps.
The view of mounds of clothing and other goods and moving boxes.
It's wild how two people who lived in one-bedroom apartments put all their stuff in like a 3-bedroom house, and it's what?
Oh, I thought you were attacking me. We used to hide things in our 400 square foot place in North Beach. We'd hide it like under the couch, on top of the
way to
armoire.
Do it. You guys moved from a San Francisco apartment to a Portland house.
Yeah.
No wonder it took you like 8 years to actually get into your attic. You probably couldn't find it with all the additional space you had.
I was so scared to go there.
This place has an attic too that I also haven't been in. It's like not accessible.
So I have
How old is your house?
Yeah, how old is your house?
Oh, the foundation was dug in 1895.
Your attic's so haunted?
Oh, for sure. Well, I think the basement is. You guys have both been in the basement. The basement is scary as shit.
I didn't mind the basement.
It's man. We and now with all this stuff, we're storing more stuff down there, and every time I go down there, it's like, especially with it being Christmas season, and I've quoted this on the show before, but the Home Alone furnace just living rent free in my mind, going, "Hello, Kevin."
You need to make it like a Belligerent theme in the basement, where you string up a bunch of lights, have a bunch of empty beer cans strewn around on the floor.
Okay, that part I've done. I didn't know what I was doing, but I've done that. So buy lights. I can swing by Home Depot tomorrow. Mission accomplished. We're fully moved in now, babe.
We've got the Belligerent basement. Hey, if there's a ghost out there, they're gonna be so cheerful.
Right. Oh,
celebrating
give them a floor of crushed Keystone Light cans.
Yeah,
they'll love it.
Great when you're barefoot.
Yeah.
You can't. I
think
go
most ghosts
are
barefoot.
Do ghosts have feet, or do they float? I guess they have feet.
Yeah.
I just went to a production of a Christmas Carol. I should know this. I saw lots of ghosts in that thing.
Well, they definitely have feet. See the ghost if it's a production?
Yeah, but the actors had feet, but the characters they're portraying.
Well,
how many ghosts do they have?
In Muppet Christmas Carol, the Ghost of Christmas Past does not have feet. The Ghost of Christmas Present does. You can assume the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come does, but they don't ever show his feet.
What about the Ghost of Christmas way, way future?
Way future for sure has feet. He's in combat boots.
I don't get it.
This episode has been brought to you by I Think You Should Leave, which JP will watch one day, but not anytime soon, out of spite for Benny and I.
I've watched it. I don't know why you guys
we watched it together.
Never watched it. Yes. I watched it at your spooky house.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry, I don't remember that because Benny forced me to get really high that night.
Hey, your state's the one that sells drinks.
Finish that.
So it's your fault.
Drinks with weed in them.
Yeah. That is a good distinction. Yes.
I was at that brewery earlier today too. I could have bought more of them, drank it on the episode, and let this episode get way more unhinged than it normally does. Because that's how strong that thing was.
That was very strong.
Shout out THC beers. Also, we got to get into this at some point to an extent. Shout out the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
One of the biggest wins ever, the Supreme Court in Washington. This is really fun. I still need to do a deep dive into the legalities of all of this and the jargon that I don't understand, and have smart people who went to law school, like the Belligerent Beavs attorney, Thrilla from Danzilla, take a look at it and tell us what everything means. But in lay terms, so Judge Gary Libby in the Washington State Court in Fairfax, Washington, I forget what county that is, but ruled in favor of Oregon State, Washington State being the sole controllers of the Pac-12 conference and all of its assets for now and for the future. It's not a free-for-all. The Oregon State and Washington State do need to inform the other 10 institutions when they do have board meetings what the agenda is, allow them to attend, but they don't have votes. And of course, they're
like a shadow.
10, they're like a shadow,
but you can't touch.
Yeah, it's like a strip club. You're invited, but you can't play. And
the Pac-2 strip club.
So, of course, the treasonous 10, the mutineers, appealed this, and my understanding of it is to the Supreme Court, to the Washington Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court in Washington, which has no reason to favor Oregon State and Washington State. So any theories that just this was filed in the court closest to Pullman, it was home field advantage, whatever. The Supreme Court in Olympia, Washington, the state capital, has way more shit to do, and they don't have time for petty dealings of the Pac-12. Looked at everything. Pac-12, Pac-2, though the conference name is still the Pac-12. Legally, the name of the conference is still the Pac-12, even if it's the Pac-2. Not important, but whatever. The Supreme Court in Washington essentially looked at their appeal and just said no. We're not letting you appeal that. Yeah, they're like, there's no reason. There isn't a single rational thought in favor of us reviewing this. It's a no. You all left. It's Oregon State and Washington State's conference. They can do whatever they want. You maybe should have thought about this before you took TV deals for pennies on the dollar just to get the fuck out of this conference as quick as you could. And we'll see what it means for OSU and WSU. We still don't know if it's a windfall or not, but it does mean some control. It means some stability. It means that sort of the thoughts out there that like we've been having all these months, like other people have to see how fucked we are getting in this, right? It kind of shows that common sense prevails and that no court or legal entity is going to stand in the way of Oregon State and Washington State getting as solid of footing as they possibly can in this uncertain present / future. I think this was the ghost of Christmas present acting in our favor to say, come in and know me better, man, to Oregon State and Washington State, and telling the other 10 that you are a Scrooge, but beyond redeemable factors, so you can fuck off. And this chain you forged in life with your acts of greed, treasonous 10. It's a great ruling for OSU and WSU, and we can't spend too much time with it because we have a fucking ton to get to on this Christmas week episode of the Belligerent Beavs. But you guys, this had
Belligerent week.
Belligerent week, Christmas week, episode 121. On the 121st day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a stay to the restraining order, keeping Oregon State and Washington State in favor of the Pac-12 / Pac-2. That is the best gift in that entire song with way less birds. How are you guys feeling about this?
Dude, so good. I think on two different levels, right? Like one is you don't think that you can be any more mad at the traitorous 10 until tomorrow happens, right? Like we've been living in that world for the last 4 months. So it was nice to see the traitorous 10 have to bow down and then just hear crickets from them. Their lawyers have been so quick to respond to any ruling, and it's just been silence on their part. So that is nice.
Noise.
Some might say noise. And then the other part, and I think the more important part, is that, like you said, this does give the two schools stability. And I think that's sort of where conference realignment, the fear of it sets in, is like, are we going to be able to survive for the next 2 years before we figure all of this out? And I think this ruling almost guarantees that. So feeling at ease and emotionally satisfied.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just about stability as much as it is really clarity. And I think that the stability is going to come from knowing what we legally have at our disposal, what is ours as a sole and shared ownership with Washington State University. And that opens up a lot of different avenues for us. And I think a lot of this stalemate was clearly because of the uncertainty around, like, well, what's going to happen when the dust settles with the Pac-12, Pac-2, treacherous 10, etc. I love that the 10 have had nothing to say. I think that it's beyond hilarious that they were nearly the first, within like less than 10 minutes, to put out a statement about our scheduling alliance next year with the Mountain West for football, and how they were happy that we were able to find a scheduling partner and fill out our schedules, blah, 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 blah. But when they finally were defeated in court, and there's nowhere else to turn because they can try all they want, but pretty much every other state is going to tell them to piss off when they try to bring this case to them and be like, it's done. California is not wasting their time on this. Maybe Arizona. I don't think Utah or Colorado give a damn. And I promise you Oregon doesn't want to get involved in that either. So
No.
there's nowhere else to turn. Their tails are tucked between their legs. They're running it back to their new conference partners and have to beg and grovel, hopefully.
Actually, just kidding. Can you guys give us as much as you're giving Rutgers, please?
Yeah, exactly. To make it, yeah. Because it was one of those things where it's like, damn, how desperate are these schools? Like, to take partial or no or almost no share of the media contract? Were things that dire that you just had to be on TV or you were going to disappear off the face of college athletics? That was the public perception of why they were making these ridiculous deals. And now it's all abundantly clear. They did it because they thought that they could just scrape out whatever they wanted of the coffers of the Pac-12, that they were going to bully the remaining schools into joining a conference that they didn't want to. It worked for Cal and Stanford, but the remaining two were not going to get bullied out of this. And man, this is going to be one of the craziest college athletics stories of all time when it all comes out publicly. And it might be a long time for that to happen, but I cannot wait to get that story.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to be chasing like closure on this for, I think, a few years. We can't ever
maybe more
this podcast because it's going to take a while to know what this means. But I think where you see a lot of language in pieces written about Oregon State and Washington State here, where the threshold is kind of to make sure that they can keep funding football and the rest of the programs at a Power 5 level for the next 2 years. And then that's a bridge. That's the first bridge to cross, essentially. And right now it sounds like there's just a good chance of that being reality. If it felt naive at first, I think it sounds less naive now, even to the biggest cynic of the position that Oregon State is in and that Washington State is in. And we'll see if there's another appeal, if they take it to the Supreme Court in California. I know Oregon State and Washington State blocked a revenue distribution. It's like a scheduled revenue distribution thing.
Oh, awesome.
But like, even I've read stuff from like Midwest and East Coast based like national media members. I mean, like, yeah, Oregon State and Washington State could make this really, really dirty. I don't know if they will, but even if they do, can anybody blame them? Like, I don't think there's a lot of sympathy out there for the other 10 programs. And I don't think the Big 10 or the Big 12 is going to spend any money to help them out in court to like help them recoup whatever money they feel they need for transition fees, which is just the biggest crock of shit ever to be like, we're leaving. Also, like,
hey, help us out. Our
that's
employees.
Like, yeah,
think about our
we use
players.
the breakup metaphor, like breaking up with someone and then being like, actually, can you like pay for my Lyft to get out of here? Though I'm gonna go meet up with somebody else. Like, fuck off.
I'm glad we dated for 100 years, but
I'm glad we dated for 100 years. Can you get me my bus fare to Iowa City, please? There's a bar there that I gotta check out. You can't come. But you can watch us punt 1,000 times on TV from your couch. Anyway, we got to move on, but great news for us in court.
Hey, and before we move on, I do have to say this. This is an important one. I did Google search because if the Pac-2 is a strip club, we got to know which one it is. And I Googled Pac-2 strip club and the number one result. Can anyone guess?
Pac-2 strip, like a strip club that would be
strip club.
That was my search query.
Pac-2 strip club.
Is it like did like a gentleman's club pop up, or like did a
you're close,
or did a social club pop up that like has enthusiasm for like New York strip steaks?
No, a gentleman's club popped up.
Spice.
It was Spice
in Portland.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the Pac-2 headquarters, clearly.
Well, why is that significant? I've never been to that establishment before. Spice, you said.
Yeah.
In Portland.
It's spelled with a Y.
Oh, with the
yes.
Y.
Yeah.
Why did I not know that? Because I haven't been.
Moving on. Maybe we'll touch on that on the next episode of Bonus Belligerents, which will never happen. We've got a lot to get to, but let's move into the Reagan beer segment. And like the show notes say, I spent most of the hours before this episode writing a poem, which I will share. I thought you were
for my
cleaning.
I was cleaning this weekend.
Your girlfriend did.
I was cleaning this weekend.
Oh.
I said the hours before this episode.
Oh, you're writing a poem.
I wrote a poem. It's in
Is that
the
why you were
show
late?
notes. No. I was. Do you want to know the exact reason why I was late?
Yeah.
I was watching the very end of The Voice.
What?
I had to see who won. And then I ran upstairs. It would have been ready at 10:01, but then Zoom was like, you have updates. So fuck off. We started recording at 10:03 Central Time.
Wait, should I
Zoom open at 10:03 Central Time.
Should I play some poetry, like reading sounds?
I was gonna ask.
What would that be?
It's Christmas themed. So I let's get some Christmas music that's not gonna get us sued. So like some Christmas sounding instrumentals, like I don't know, the YouTube video that has just like a crackling fire, but with like soft Christmas music in the background. Get that.
They have
Christmas. Got it.
Soft Christmas jams that won't get you sued. I'm sure that's a track in the library of music that's available to us.
I use Calm when I go to sleep, and they have a sleep soundscape called Mr. Poe's Library. I don't know if we could use that, but that sounds appropriate.
I'm listening to some music we have access to, and I like it. And I'm just kind of, you guys can't hear it, but I can, and that makes it way more fun.
Is it Christmassy?
Yeah, but wait, I need to find a good one. I'm just looking. Here we go. This one might be good.
Now we're doing post-production during the production.
Yeah, but I'm not including it. You guys can't hear this, can you?
No, not right now.
Okay, good.
No, but when the listener is listening to this, they're going to be able to hear it. With you asking us, can we hear it? And we're going to say no, but the listener can hear it.
Yeah.
This is elite level podcasting of the highest order right here. If this is your first time, we have a segment called the Reagan Beer segment where we share a beer, a adult beverage, or an apple in Benny's case, something that we use to toast the episode to. So, JP, why don't we start with you this evening?
Oh, thanks. I was listening to Christmas music. I think I'm going to go with this one that I'm playing in my ears right now. So I paused it because I can't hear myself think when it's playing. I have Frequency Illusion.
Oh, that's a nice little can right there. Kind of schoolhouse rockish.
I know. And it's a West Coast IPA. Not a double IPA or a triple IPA. I feel like I've really fallen off the wagon with those, and I apologize. But this is from Barlick. But it's not just for Barlick. It's brewed. Oh, shit. I just poured it on my keyboard. It's brewed.
With Block 15.
With Block Corvallis. 15. Block 15. Sponsor the pod.
Sponsor the pod, Block 15. You're basically being demanded to at this point.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
And pleaded too. Please.
Well, we should. Well, we'll talk about it another time. Friends. But we should talk about sponsoring the pod and what that kind of means going forward.
Yeah. In this the Supreme Court ruled that we have to be sponsored at all times now. That was part of the ruling that came down this week. So we are out of bounds right now by not having a brewery sponsorship on this episode.
So if you don't want us suspended, then please sponsor the pod
and give us a 5-star review and share the show with a friend. That helps too.
Yeah.
Besides spilling the beer on your keyboard.
Oh yeah,
JP,
I haven't had a sip yet.
How is it? You gave the keyboard a sip before yourself. That's unselfish.
Well, I'm feeling merry and bright. It's the holidays. It's the Belligerent season. That's really good. I don't know, like a 4.3.
Nice.
Oh, that's pretty high for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially for a West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
It's
Nicely
real
done,
danky.
Barrelick Block 15. Very danky.
Real danky.
Yeah.
Danky and stanky.
Ooh.
Well, we both have danky things on this Reagan beer segment.
Nice.
Well, let's keep the dank fest going. The dankopotamus, Benny.
The Dankosaurus.
Oh, Benny, what do you got tonight? These will both play into my poem, by the way.
So I have not consumed anything.
Oh,
but I will soon.
You're consuming content right now.
I'm going to show you this because I've wanted to show you guys this for a while. I am consuming content. It's so bright.
Why is your light so bright? It's like the sun. Whoa! Whoa!
The Dankopotamus.
What a Christmas tree.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Oh
it is
my
a Christmas tree.
Lord.
It took off.
Sorry, everyone. An episode of season 1 of Weeds just broke out in Benny's Zoom background.
Yeah, it's grown. So,
Wow.
I don't want to advertise it, but Christmas presents may be coming out soon.
Christmas presents
Late Christmas presents.
coming out soon. Can't advertise it, but if you've ever seen How High, the opening Method Man's apartment at the beginning of How High, that is what we just looked at.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm impressed, man. That's a green
Thanks.
Oh.
Yeah, it is big.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that.
That is what she said.
Penny. I love it. As I mentioned, I was at Fair State Brewing, which had the beers that got the THC beers that got Benny and myself too high in Minneapolis this spring. And they have a Kolsch that I really like. It's called Cold, and it's served very cold. It tastes very cold, and it's December, so it's very cold. Although it's like a record-breaking warm December here. I don't know what it's been like in the Pacific Northwest, but I think we have a pretty warm winter on our hands. But I've been drinking cold all day, so I don't have it with me anymore. I have my trademark Bud Light, and this one has a Minnesota Wild logo on it. I couldn't find one at the Minneapolis liquor stores that had Beaver logos on it, despite demanding for a beer can with a Beaver logo on it, and was like, "Come on, man, it's Christmas. This is all I want for Christmas."
Beavers love Christmas trees.
Yeah,
beavers do love Christmas trees. Beavers, they chop them down so that people can take them home and put them up and decorate them and be very festive and stuff. And
if they don't take them, they're like recycled through the beaver community by them building their own homes out of them.
Yeah, you can reuse the Christmas tree to create more housing.
Yeah,
you know what? Waterfront housing.
Housing crisis solved.
You know what you should write not in lieu of, but in addition to your poem is all I want for Christmas is my 2 buck teeth.
Oh,
yeah. I'm making
that could be a new banger.
I do like that.
I do like that. Well, we could use this as an opportunity to mention on the pod, which has been pumped out on social, that this Thursday evening on X, formerly known as Twitter, will be the annual Belligerent Spaces celebration. So maybe we can get some lyrics from my 2 buck teeth produced by then. But we love doing the Belligerent Spaces. We've done it each of the past 2 years that this podcast has been around. And it's a great time to sort of just check in, hear from our listeners, hear from Beaver fans, bullshit about everything that's going on in the Beaver fam right now, which right now is a lot. So
much.
It'll be a good spaces. Please invite your friends. Let everyone know. It'll be 8 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday, right? Thursday, December 21st?
Yes.
Thursday, December 21st, which is probably tomorrow or tonight if you're listening to this, as we are recording on Tuesday, December 19th. But, spaces, if one person shows up, it's great. If 1 million people show up, it's probably too much. So somewhere between 1 and 1 million people will be there.
And I'm looking into ways to potentially like simulcast the spaces. So
Word.
That if X or Twitter isn't your thing, we'll figure out a way, maybe, hopefully, to get sound and or at least sound and or video of us on multiple streaming platforms, so YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So you can still partake even if you're not live vocally in the spaces.
Right. And to show my advanced appreciation, Beaver fam, I wrote you all a Christmas poem. JP, do I have Christmas music playing right now?
Yes.
Yeah, in the episode of the show, I have Christmas music playing. I can imagine it in my head for right now. But now, as the listeners listening now.
Would it help, though, if I just actually played it and then...
Yeah.
Maybe. Ooh, let's try this.
And we just
I would enjoy it.
All right.
Well, JP's working on that. Really, this is an adapted poem, and the original author of this is Clement Clark Moore, who was from Rhode Island and American as they come. But probably because of A Christmas Carol, I feel like every old-timey Christmas thing just is British as hell. And while I think the most popular thing to do on this podcast is demand that Terry talks like a beaver, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But I will try and read this in my awful British accent.
Okay. You have 2 minutes and 51 seconds.
Okay. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the Paris of the Pacific Northwest, a beaver emoji and a lock emoji tweeted with Trent Bray's whole ass chest. Claude's pint glasses were raised, and all had good cheer, knowing that Belligerent soon would be here. And as Beaver Nation soon nestled, all snug in their beds, had dreams of big lumps of coal dropped onto Jonathan Smith's big head. With Benny in his snapback and JP in his bag, 3 bebés all decked out in brand new Bray area swag. A Bud Light cracked for Terry, a double IPA flowed for Jay. As soon as Benny sparked some purple, we hit record for the day. When out in Corvallis, there arose such a clatter. We sprang from our mics to see what was the matter. Away to the window, I flew like Anthony Gould. Against the moon we could see him, all chiseled and all bejeweled. It's him! It's him! Benny shouted excited and clear. Though the man did not answer, he just laughed and cracked a beer. There was so much bravado, so much swag. He jumped down from his sleigh. I knew in an instant it must be Coach Bray. He stepped into the light. It was surely him just the same. Then he whistled and shouted and called his staff out by name. Now Gundy, now Devan, now Boyer, now Perkins. On Cookus, on Ford Jr., on Cooper, on Hinton. To the CFP we'll go. Our players have called. ACC, SEC, Big 12, Big 10, no conference, no matter. We'll simply beat them all. Then the noise they all made, oh how proudly they cheered. JP captured the content. Terry cracked another beer. The moment felt like a dream, but also so real. Then the next moment came, and it was truly surreal. Down the chimney, Coach fell, but with style and with grace. And before you could even say chop 'em, we were standing with Coach in our place. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. I've got good news to share, he said, dearest Benny, JP, and Terry. But first let me commend my new gear, he said. These threads are truly dope. Beaver Nation can they forget, you can't spell chop 'em without hope. Then he filled our stockings and our tree with his gifts, and he gave us a look, and we knew he had one more quip. Worry not, my sons, he said. Next season be the glory. We'll win every game, and we'll be quite the story. Our championship march starts on this Christmas Day. He looked at JP and said, please play 5 seconds of Party in the USA. And with not one more word, back up the chimney he flew. He got back in his sleigh. He assembled his crew. They took off into the night, rustling whole forest full of leaves, but not before calling out, Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a go Beavs. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Wow.
And a Happy New Year.
Bravo.
That was very good. Nice job.
That was amazing. My only critique was that you said it'd be less than the 2 minutes and 51 second song that we had playing while you did it.
I really thought it would be. I hope we can maybe loop that in post.
I'll pick it.
I know we normally do social
song.
media, but
Don't worry.
Andre Nicotina, post-production podcasting is a skill I'm sure he has as well. But yes, appreciate the assist there. And that's a true story. That really happened. I'm sorry, Coach Bray. We can't play 5 seconds of Party in the USA, or we'll be banned in Russia, and it's Christmas there too. Sorry.
Yeah, we can't make everyone happy, and so instead, you're gonna just keep Russia happy.
And everyone else who orders new Bray Area merch on belligerentbeavs.com/merch. Oh boy, let's get to the gridiron.
Oh boy.
Where to even begin with what's happening? I think we'll try and start by just kind of doing a grouped in segment on the transfer portal and high school recruiting. Tomorrow being Wednesday, December 20th, National Signing Day. So more, who knows, maybe that's by the time you're listening to this, there's been some crazy flips. Maybe Oregon State has the number 1 recruiting class in the country that we probably won't, but maybe. I would say, just to lead into this, the amount of incoming action, regardless of the level of prospect, is an encouraging sign for a program that is losing its conference and losing its head coach. I don't want to just sit on those two things like it's a crutch. I feel like we're kind of doing it a lot, but like whenever a coach leaves, you see teams get gutted, and you're kind of seeing it. A bunch of guys who had committed to Oregon State have flipped to Michigan State. Aiden Childs is transferring to Michigan State. Jack Velling is transferring to Michigan State. Good luck, have fun, whatever. But we've got 7 FBS/FCS transfers that are incoming, outside of, I think, Easton Mascarenas Arnold, Achille Arnold, and Jermod McCoy all kind of surprised us to varying degrees. The Arnold brothers are going to USC, it has been confirmed, which, without knowing details, promises with it a pretty significant bag. So thanks for the service, and congrats on the bag, boys. But for Bray to have, I think, this much action this soon without getting like a true, like real, like big blue chipper, but to be in the mix of certain guys like in the transfer portal right now, like Malik Murphy has visited Corvallis. There's been rumors of Ty Thompson visiting Corvallis. We've been tied to Jabari Johnson, a 4-star quarterback at Missouri. You're hearing a lot of Oregon State in ways that you're not hearing a ton for other programs that have just lost their coach. And you can't even say programs in similar situations because no one's losing their coach and their conference.
Right.
So the initial fears of just getting gutted are not taking shape. And I think we've got some exciting pieces coming in. So we've got lots of transfers. We can run through them. I think in the last couple of days, we've got, and as I was writing the notes tonight on Tuesday night, Wilsonville quarterback Kalen Guttridge, state champion, a dude who hoops too. I wonder if he's going to think about OSU basketball. I kind of hope he does. Yeah. But there's been, commitments coming in along, like you're not just hearing decommitments, you're hearing decommitments and commitments.
Yeah.
So so I'd say of the guys we've gotten in the portal so far, I've got some notes on a few of them. I think Anthony Hankerson, running back from Colorado, is probably maybe like the biggest name or the most well-known name. Also the one who transferred to Oregon State, and Deion Sanders immediately tweeted Oregon State's getting a dog. And whether you like him or hate him, we're kind of in a point where if Deion Sanders does anything, college football just stops and like talks about it. And I was surprised that Deion did that. Deion's not normally someone to acknowledge anyone outside of his building. So it kind of surprised me that he took a second to give praise to an outgoing player. Beaver fans, Hankerson was the kid who had the final touchdown in that Oregon State-Colorado game that made things a little hairy. And that was on a pass to the running back, which I'm hoping we'll see more of now that he's in Gundy's offense. So Hankerson's kind of the big one. He's, of course, joined by two Colorado teammates, Van Wells and Gerard Christian Lichtenhan. As Dashel pointed out, the biggest recruit in Oregon State history. Literally, he's a tackle who's 6'10". That's pretty amazing.
Jesus.
But whether it be a single player or just a piece of news or something in this last week of these names popping up and committing to Oregon State, what is giving you guys the biggest optimism right now? Let's stick on the positivity train for this part of the segment.
Yeah,
go for Benny.
I think the fact that we just have players that are willing to commit to a program with a lot of uncertainty, I think that points a lot to Bray and company. I am very surprised at the amount of running backs that continue to flow into the program, especially with a pretty clear number one running back. So that is, I think, I don't know if it's something to keep an eye on, but just something I found interesting. And I like the fact that we're getting a lot of offensive line help. That's one position group that we are losing a lot of talent on. And so bringing guys on board and bringing them on board early is a really good thing, I think. The thing, and I think we'll probably spend a lot of time talking about this, is the amount of attention we're getting from high caliber quarterbacks. And there seems to be a particular style that I would imagine it's Gundy is looking for, with a mobile quarterback that can throw the ball, but can also move around. And that's something that we haven't had at Oregon State in a really long time. And that's really exciting. But these are 4 5-star guys that are looking at Oregon State. And obviously, like, we look at it and go, well, duh, of course they want to look at Corvallis. Corvallis is awesome. Oregon State's awesome. The community's great. But these guys could play anywhere. These guys could play at schools that not only are in a conference. You could be
Dante Moore.
Yes.
Transferring to back up
somebody again. Yeah, I don't get that. No. But I'm putting my hat in the ring for Jabari Johnson. Tacoma kid. He went to Lincoln High School, which is where they have a great plant sale, by the way, in springtime. So shout out Lincoln High School.
That's why.
Yeah.
So Benny's a donor to Lincoln High School.
That's right. Yeah.
NIL opportunity in the offseason.
Yeah.
Oh. They can tend your crops.
Yeah. They can take some too if they want. I'm really, really, really impressed by the people that we've gotten to come visit. And it's not just people who there are rumors of checking out the program. These are guys that have come to Corvallis and met with the coaching staff, have checked out the facilities. And I just think that if we can get any one of these guys, it was Malik, Jabari, there's one other guy,
Ty Thompson,
Thompson, who are looking at the program. If we can get one of these guys, I think that opens the floodgates to a certain extent. It really just takes one high caliber player, especially on offense, to match up with Dame. And this offense looks scary. And given the schedule that we have, I mean, playing Oregon, they should be pretty good next year. But other than that, our schedule looks like nothing compared to what it has the last couple of years. So, it doesn't take a lot. And I think what's the name of the quarter or the wide receiver that decommitted from Oregon that is looking at
Jordan Anderson.
No. So it's between us and San Diego State at this point. 4-star recruit.
Apparently, I've heard some rumblings that, he and Ty Thompson are close.
Okay.
I don't
Package
know if there's
deal.
any truth to that. But if they're a package deal, then Ty gets my support. But
yeah,
I'd be elated with any one of the three of those guys.
Yeah, me too. And I think, imagine the scenario if we get Ty Thompson and Jordan Anderson on the squad and match them up with Dame, like, dude, that's a scary offense just in its own right. And I think you'll find other transfers and potential high school recruits that are going to see that excitement and again, possibly the floodgates open. So that's my initial assessment. I think a lot is left to be written in this chapter of the recruiting cycle for Oregon State, but I like what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah. I wanted to actually try to point out, maybe like trying to read the tea leaves, because I agree with everything you said, Benny, but there's one other part that's very interesting to me. So we have Hankerson coming from Colorado. We have another offensive lineman. Do we have two offensive linemen coming from Colorado?
Yeah.
Okay.
Van Wells and Gerard Christian Lichtenheim.
Right. Yep. So I imagine all three of them were either recruited and or coached, or were recruited in part of a Kyle DeVan-led offensive line at Colorado. And I think that, one, this is a great sign for Oregon State that DeVan is out there making calls. I think that Kyle is the guy who builds very long-lasting relationships with people. They feel comfortable with him. They trust him because he reciprocates that as well. And it's pretty evident. So the offensive lineman, of course, that makes sense, right? Like, he brought them to Colorado, and he was there until Dion essentially, gutted the entire program and put his own program in place. But Kyle was on staff when Hankerson was recruited, when he was offered. He was obviously working with the offensive linemen who are making the transfer. He's all over social media whenever Bray tweets out the beef signal. And for me, that's like an insanely positive sign, not just because of the momentum, not the result, not right now. It's about how do we build now from this point forward? Because there's so much movement in college football right now. There's so many people in the portal. Everyone needs a home. There isn't even enough space for every single person in the portal. So people might be jumping ship, sure. They might just be trying to find familiarity, sure. But I think that one ace up our sleeve is that Kyle DeVan's a great recruiter. He's a great relationship builder. And we're going to see that pay off in the Oregon State way, with a dominant offensive line, with running backs who want to run behind that kind of line, and quarterbacks who want to stand behind those big guys. So, yeah, DeVan, after he left Colorado, right, he went to Charlotte. We talked about this, but I think he's got a couple guys who are NFL caliber at this point before he left the program to rejoin Oregon State. Gundy, I think that he's also one of those up-and-coming offensive coordinator stars. And I say this in a way that he blends a lot of different types of play. It's not just like I'm an old, stick in the mud kind of like, this is my offensive style, this is what we're going to do. If you don't fit it, we're not doing it. or you're not doing it, you're not coming here. And he'll blend it to the quarterback, he'll blend it to the offense, he'll blend it to the personnel. And that will, I think that will bode really well for us. But is it going to be lightning in the bottle with a transfer who can execute on it immediately? Or is it going to be, built over time? Is it going to be, the high school recruit who, comes in now and develops in that system and then eventually becomes an elite quarterback at the college level? TBD. And I think both of those things are great scenarios for us. So it's awesome to see these names in the portal that are interested in us. It's awesome to see that these guys are still committing to us. It's awesome to see that there's still traction. But a ton of this has to go to Bray, Gundy, Devan, the coaches who stuck around from the last staff, and they just settled the boat. I mean, they were not shook by this. They knew what the task was at hand. They accepted it, and they're pulling together a really decent recruiting class. And the portal's not even over yet. No.
There's going to be a lot more movement before the next time we talk and record. I love everything you guys are saying. I love Devan. I think he's been particularly active, and I think in our text chat as we've been like seeing this information come out, shouts to all the beat writers and breaking news personalities who have been getting this information to us as quick as possible in the very cryptic world of college football Twitter. But with all this offensive line and defensive line news, it's good to see that the investment in the trenches is still there, as that's something that has really powered Oregon State to getting into the position it's in now versus where it was 5 years ago. And I think Devan's been huge on the offensive side of that. Benny mentioning running backs, and I just want to circle back here and just give one more note on Hankerson. I think so. Hankerson was like earlier in the week, and then just yesterday, we got Cornell Hatcher, a running back from Corona, California, and also a kid from Texas, Salahuddin Allah, whose Twitter name also has him described as the smoothest RB in Texas. His words, but I love that kind of confidence. I would imagine Hankerson will probably, if like in a perfect world, Dame being the number one back, Hankerson will probably be the only one who challenges for playing time next year, assuming Newell comes back as well, taking over for Fenwick a little bit. I think on why I really like Hankerson is he wasn't super utilized in Boulder. He had 78 carries last season. To put that in comparison, Damian finished just shy of 200. But that led Colorado for rushing attempts by non-quarterbacks. Shador ended up with 111 rush attempts. I put that in air quotes to the listener because that also includes sacks. And I'm excited about
a lot of them.
Both offensive linemen we got, but there were a number of sacks last year. Like now we're just kind of hoping that was scheme. And I'm sure that had a large part to do with it. But then I added everything up. Colorado called over the course of the entire season, Colorado called 230 rushing plays for non-quarterbacks over the course of the entire season, about exactly just under 20 a game. Oregon State called 330, and Fenwick would have led Colorado in rushing attempts by non-quarterbacks by a wide margin. So there's a lot of just total touches to be made up for with the team losing Fenwick, and even in like a sort of a stopgap role, there'll be lots of carries for Hankerson to have without cutting into Damian's role at all. I don't imagine you want to get, I think 200 is probably the carries cap because you don't want to wear anyone down. Also, UCLA didn't do this like a ton, but both Carson Steele and TJ Harden were good receivers out of the backfield for UCLA this year. So feel like I've been begging for this ever since we got Smith to use the running backs in the passing game a little bit. both those guys caught more balls than both Martinez and Fenwick. Fenwick sort of came on towards the end of the year with some big catches. But I think you'll see the running backs more active in the passing game, and Hankerson will be involved there. So that's kind of why I just like, I know it's a 3-star transfer, a dude who rushed for just over 300 yards total last season. But like, I think this could be a transfer that can pop, and he has he has 2 seasons of eligibility left.
Yeah, I think one thing that we have to remind ourselves is like everyone's always considering now, like, is this transfer going to just continue to replicate what they did before, and that will be their contribution to the team. But before the portal became this massive free agency where everyone's seeking out the top talent and trying to lure them to their school or fill a need, coaches were still using transfers to figure out which player can I coach to be a better player. And even when early transfer portal era, that was the case. And I would say that Deshaun Fenwick's a great example of a person like that. A player who was underutilized, poorly used, comes to Oregon State and shows all of those flashes of what everyone who had seen him play prior knew he could deliver on. And I think we need to stop being like, well, this guy only had, not we as us, but I'm just saying as fans, like, we need to stop being like, well, this guy's like not going to be that good. He came in here with like, you know,
numbers
3 touchdowns and 500 rushing yards. It's like, well, hold on. Let's see how he does with these coaches in this system, in this environment, with these fans. Like, there's so many other moving parts to being a college athlete. It isn't just about your talent level as much as it is everything coming together and working well in your favor. So, yeah, I mean, just as a preface, like, I just don't want to look at Hankerson and say, like, oh, well, he had a rough year last year, and, you know, maybe he's just going to be the guy who might do this or that. But, I mean, yeah, he could be somebody who's had a huge impact, like you're saying. Like, he could be diamond in the rough, even though he's already kind of proven in a sense. So, have some patience, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, you bring such a good point up, and that is that it's about how these players mold together and seeing something in a player that, as a coach, you're saying, oh, I can utilize that skill set way better than what they're being utilized as now. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing. And look, like, you're going to have the quarterback. Aiden Childs is a perfect example of this. You're going to have the quarterbacks that are going to find bags of money at other schools that Oregon State just can't pay at this point. And that's going to happen. That's going to happen to a lot of schools. But there's also going to be a lot of guys who are going to be looking for a home that aren't going to be seeking the multi-million-dollar NIL bag, right? And you want coaches that can sell these players on not only their style of play, but also the program. And I think we talked about it or touched on it a couple episodes ago of how Bray is building this coaching staff with a lot of former Beavs. And I think that just, it's showing it. I mean, this is an impressive first couple of weeks of the transfer portal for Oregon State. And I think a lot of that is these coaches selling these guys on the program, and you have to experience it in order to sell it. And that's what's happening here. And look, like, we're going to see this happen a lot more. Like, the transfer portal is not going to tame itself down going forward. Like, it's going to be like this. So you're going to have a lot of players that come to Oregon State and pop and then go somewhere else. That is just going to happen. And you need to have a coaching staff that can fill those voids quickly. And from what I've seen, like, that's what I'm most excited about, is you need to have a coaching staff that can fill those voids quickly. And that's what we're seeing here. Yeah,
you got to recruit for the hype. You got to hope that they stick around and reach their potential. But then you also have to be essentially back channeling to the transfer portal to say, who are these underserved players that I know I can coach up? Mm-hmm. And it's like you got to work in both directions. Like, that's the way that Oregon State football will excel at this day and age of college football.
Right. Yep. And I think these last few days or weeks, whatever, since the portal opened on December 4th, and with recruiting picking up, I think it was imperative for Bray to at least show that there's still interest in the program, because we see programs go through this all the time when things are down, a coach gets fired or a coach leaves, and it's kind of all quiet on the Western Front, and it's like you kind of take it on the chin one year and not have a lot of commits in a high school recruiting class, and you kind of just hope that what remains from the previous year can sustain you for the next year. And regardless of rating or not, like there's people coming in who all have offers to play at other institutions, big and small. So I think that shows that there are people buying in to what Bray is selling. And one note that I just saw too, after edge/linebacker Anthony Jones from Indiana transferred, within an hour, running back from Allen Hancock College, Ferrari Busby, tweeted that he had accepted a preferred walk-on offer to come to Oregon State, and he said to play with my bro Anthony Jones. Yeah. So like, Ferrari Busby hasn't played a ton at Allen Hancock College, but Bray thinks enough of the kid to give him a preferred walk-on opportunity, and just like that PR has value. Like there's nothing bad about that happening. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So just seeing names coming in was a first step that even go back to how you felt Saturday morning after the 31-7 loss at Oregon, when Jonathan Smith announced that he was fucking leaving with a fucking 2-sentence notes app farewell. Think of how low that felt. You did not think that there'd be this much incoming action to help stem the tide of the outgoing action. So
I am not thinking about Jonathan Smith at all whatsoever. Ever. I will not waste a second of my brain power thinking about that snake.
Helpful comparison tool, Jay. I am sorry.
He's not even French vanilla. He's just vanilla.
He's sponge vanilla.
Yeah. Yuck.
Yeah. Moving on, the schedule for the most part also came out. We're still waiting on some dates, but we know who we're playing. 7 Mountain West schools in total, 4 P4, P5, whatever, and then also Idaho State. We got to move quickly here, but for the games we didn't know, what any of these matchups particularly exciting, either for Benny, I know you're always thinking about away games to travel to, and I know you didn't want to lose an at Boise State game. We now don't know the date. It was going to be on the 14th. Now it's going to be sometime later than that. Good. But can Beaver fans still expect to see you cheering on the boys at the blue turf in Boise this fall?
Oh, I'll be in Boise for sure. Yeah, for those listeners that haven't been to Boise, Boise's awesome. I would say the closest place that I can think of that's like Boise, it's like a bigger version of Bend to a certain extent.
El Paso.
Nothing compares to El Paso. Boise is a low-key, really cool spot. Remind me, I know we play at Air Force, and then we play
Nevada. At Nevada. At San Diego State, too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's
San Diego State on the 7th. Yeah, we know that date.
Dude, I like their stadium's a little bit inland too, I think. And I know they had trouble at the beginning. I don't think it was last year, but the year before.
They had no shade.
They had no shade.
I hope that Saturday that needs to be Pac-12 after dark for sure. September 7th at San Diego State.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of away days, I would say Boise's a for sure. Nevada could be kind of fun.
I heard it could be kind of fun. We played at Nevada in 2018, and I've heard from some Beaver fam on Twitter that was we lost in heartbreaking fashion, of course, because that team lost a lot of games. But I heard from a lot of people who had a great time, and also our homie Dr. Bees has box seats to Wolfpack games.
Oh, I did not know that.
I've already planted that seed in the text message. We with fancy, UNR medical folk, they'd probably expect us to behave ourselves when we be in for a rude awakening. But we might be able to get fancy boy seats for that game in Reno this fall.
I've never been to Reno before, and San Diego, a nice trip to I haven't. No, I've been to
Wait,
Vegas.
You haven't been to San Diego?
No, I've been to San Diego.
Yeah.
Terry,
I've been to
you've
San
been to
Diego.
Reno.
Oh yeah, I flew into Reno to go to Tahoe, but I haven't like been
Experience
to Reno.
Yeah,
That was the experience.
Dude, let's go skiing. Let's get the same Airbnb from Funky Paul Molina's bachelor party, JP, in Tahoe, the whole week before that game.
How
And then
close
let's go
is
to the game.
Tahoe? How close is Tahoe?
Like
To
40
South
minutes
Lake
or something? 30 minutes?
It's like 30 minutes, yeah.
Dude, we should do that. We should get a house at Tahoe and go to the Reno game.
Yeah.
To the
I'd
Nevada
rather do that
game.
than the Boise State game. No offense.
Those could both be fun.
But I would
They
love
could
to do
both be
San
fun.
Diego State and see how long I last at Snapdragon Stadium in the hefty sunshine little
guessing
ozone atmosphere.
I'm guessing you would last a little bit longer than Benny, a little bit less than me, and we would all last less than 7 minutes.
Yeah. Nice. That's what she said.
Dragon Stadium.
Basically the most Irish to the still very Irish, but not quite as Irish as Benny is.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll burn before we get to the stadium.
Yeah.
September 7th, but hey,
Yeah.
September 28th also a Cal.
At Cal. We could go to the Bay Area
Yeah.
too.
So
And
what
we never
if,
lose at Strawberry Canyon.
Wait. So my question is, what if it's like the next Saturday is South Lake, Reno.
Oh,
So we fly to Cal. We drive out to Tahoe. We hang out all week, and then we go to the Nevada game.
Dude, I'm already going to take work. I'm putting in my request. I'm going to put in my request right now.
You're
Scott
putting your
Barnes.
request. You quit.
Scott
Here's my
Barnes.
2 weeks.
Starting September 7th.
You need a job that doesn't require you to work at all during Beaver football season. Scott Barnes, whatever you could do to get Oregon State at Nevada on Saturday, October 5th, the Beavs would appreciate it. And we'll make a donation. Probably not big enough to be worth your trouble, but hey, it's got to be some Saturday.
It'll be something.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Dude,
Saturday,
early
October.
Appreciate it.
Early October in Lake Tahoe. I've never been to Lake Tahoe, but I would imagine early October is a pleasant time to go.
I've never been to this place, but I'm pretty sure early October is the best time to go to this place. I haven't been.
You're not wrong. Unless
This
it's
is
the summer.
some of the fantasy
Summer's
I'm
great.
dreaming of in my
Or
head.
unless you're a snowboarder skier, then winter's great. It's Tahoe's great.
I've never
you
been.
ski at Tahoe
And-
year-round?
Not really year round, no. But you can gamble year round in South Lake on the Nevada side.
That's the almost the same thing I asked.
Yeah,
They have Buffalo.
they do. They do.
Buffalo, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's where I
Okay.
actually first discovered Buffalo. Was in South
Okay.
Lake.
Did you win on that trip too, JP?
I think I played Buffalo like once, but I was trying to really limit my spending on the bachelor party trip. But I went for my brother-in-law's bachelor party to Reno, and that's where I discovered Buffalo, and that's when I won like $400 on it
Oh.
in one spin.
Scott Barnes, JP will pay you $400 to have the Reno game on October 5th. Yeah, heard it here. Is that a
JP will pay
bribe?
you one spin of Buffalo.
Yeah, I
But
got you, Scott.
He always wins like 37 free spins, so it won't be just one spin.
He's Scott Buffalo.
Buffalo Barnes, baby.
Oh, man, when you say it, it sounds exactly like the machine.
That's because I sat there for so long, just racking up the money.
And yelled it so often that you were confused as if you were hearing the machine or just JP yelling in the casino. Oh. Well, it is with heavy hearts and sadness that we move on from this segment, and we do have to cover very, very sad development that we learned about on Beaver Twitter this past week. Our friend Cody Hylton, who was the account Beaver Bullpen of these years, sadly passed away, as we learned from his brother Zane. Our thoughts, prayers, vibes, and well wishes are with his family. Cody was one of the most enthusiastic people that we encountered on this app, and Twitter can be a real dumpster fire of negativity, and I think Cody was one of those people who always brought a smile, brought kindness, reminded you why we were here and why we care about these sports and these teams and these experiences. So we are all feeling his loss, and it's definitely not the same, but we are sure glad to have had our paths cross with a pretty fantastic guy. And like I said, our hearts are out to the Hylton family and all of his friends and loved ones. There is a GoFundMe has been posted to help his family with funeral costs and arrangements that we've retweeted and stuff. But yeah, definitely want to take the time to bring up Cody's memory here and extend our wishes to his family, and ask all of our listeners to join us in a moment of silence for him. But I want to get JP or Benny, if you wanted to add anything to this, the tragic news that we unfortunately got this week. I wanted to give you guys a chance to do that too.
Man, it sucks. It really sucks. You touched on it already, Terry, but like Cody Beaver Bullpen was kind of a cheerleader for us from the beginning, gave us a bit of confidence for somebody who had already built up a very strong and organic following on social media. I would say like him and Beav Recruiting were probably our two accounts we looked at, and we were like, if those two showed us any time of day, we would be like blown away. And both of them have and did, and they did right away. And kudos to Beav Recruiting as well. And I'm not gonna say as a but like Cody really doubled down, tripled down on it over the years. It just reinforcing us like why we're doing this. It wasn't because he didn't message us to share news or get a retweet or anything. It would just be like, what you guys are doing is like so impactful to Beaver Nation. Like, we all appreciate you, and like not to tug at our or at our own or whatever, but like there was something there about somebody like him that we looked up to, telling us that what we were doing was like validating and helpful and building community. And at least for me personally, like that drove me to want to keep doing it. And then we talked about like, we're going to do this till we die. We don't care. And we don't care. We didn't care when we started. We don't care now. Like, if there's no one listening right now, we'll still talk next week. But somebody telling you what you're doing unintentionally is making things better for other people, like that hit home. And he didn't let up on that. And maybe some of it was him talking about himself, but he was always supportive. He was always positive. He was always optimistic. And before Twitter became a cesspool of just absolute chaos and shit show, he was somebody delivering the good news about Oregon State. He was spreading finding all the nuggets that most people couldn't find on Twitter because they weren't following the right accounts. They weren't searching for the right terms. And he made sure he was the one point of contact that you needed to get all the information that you had to have about Oregon State athletics. And it's a void that he's not here now. And there's tonight we tweeted out about the Belligerent, and I had a moment where I thought I saw Beaver Bullpen like it. And it sucks. I feel for his kids, his family.
Yeah. 100%, man. And this is the first time that it's happened with the with Beaver Twitter that someone that is a big part of that has passed away, and Cody was a big part of that. You guys have touched on that, and it's an interesting thing where Beaver Twitter is one of those things that at least me, like, I enjoy interacting with everyone, and I go there for a lot of news and stories and to get people's takes. And again, Cody was a huge part of that. I don't think I realized how much not only Cody meant to me and was involved in a lot of day-to-day interactions that I had, but really like how much just Beaver Twitter means to me and how much of a community it really is. It's one of those things that you sort of overlook when you're in the weeds on it every day, but it is a community, and it's a community that, although maybe we don't see each other on any sort of regular basis, we're interacting with each other and we're sharing a lot of our lives with each other. And yeah, man, it sucks to lose one. And just to echo what you guys have said, my thoughts are going out to his family, especially his kids and anyone that knew him, and the rest of Beaver Twitter too. I know that a lot of people are hurting, and we're hurting together. So yeah.
JP for sure. I know, like, he's, especially in those early days when there may have been more like editing episode 6 for 4 hours with audio gone wrong or something, and there's kind of like, oh, why even do this, or what's the point? Those DMs from Cody that seemed to be out of the blue and were just straight kindness and encouragement, basically just not even just reaffirming what we're doing, or I guess, but just sort of saying like, yeah, more of this. Like the fan, because we started this, we're like, the fan base deserves more, just more content, more options, more enthusiasm, and that's all we ever aim to serve. And when he was just like, yes, like more, it was like, okay, yeah. Cody's listening. Cody notices, like, that was such a boost that we said thank you at the time, but I don't think we realized how much of our thanks that we owed to him. So big loss, and yeah, everything that we can offer out to his family and loved ones, and it's not gonna be the same going forward without him. But as he would say, we need more of this, and go Beavs forever. And with that, let's take a moment of silence, all of us in community, for our man at Beaver Bullpen, Cody Hylton. Thank you.
Hey, and yeah, thanks. And if you have the means to contribute, please do. You mentioned the GoFundMe. It's just gofundme.com/F/Cody-Hylton, Hylton with a Y. And it's very easy to get to. His brother Zane's trying to help ensure that he can raise the funds to have a very proper and deserving farewell funeral for his brother. So please, if you can, donate whatever you can to the GoFundMe, and yeah, anything else you can do to help with his kids, man. That's just
there. And if you did follow him, as I know many of our listeners do, that it wasn't just football, it was year-round everything. And it sucks to just go into a normal segment off of that, but the show goes on, and Cody was and is and would have been very excited about men's and women's basketball being undefeated in games at Gill Coliseum so far this season. Collectively, in games at Gill, Oregon State men's and women's basketball are 15-0 at this point. On December 19th, the men just held off a plucky University of Texas San Antonio squad. Got another just nail-biting victory, 66-65 behind some clutch scoring by Jordan Pope, who had 19, hit 2 clutch free throws at the end there to take the lead for good, and the team made another clutch stop at the end. The women they've put a little bit more of a scoring margin in their games. 8-0, I believe I saw them up to 20 in like the net ratings, the NCAA
but
net
still
ratings.
not ranked.
But still
ridiculous.
Not
They haven't played a road game. Yeah,
they haven't played a road game, though they
until tonight, right now.
Which is technically a neutral site game because it's in Maui against Southeast Louisiana, which is tipping off literally right now. Yeah. So we'll see. They are expected to have another strong performance against Southeast Louisiana, but you still got to play the games. But they are rolling so far. Dashel retweeted a link today of I don't know who it was, but way too early bracketology, which had them sitting at an 8 seed, which you want to see that be a little bit higher, but after missing out on the tournament the last 2 years, it's a good sign for earlier in the season. And
yeah.
Reagan put up another double-double in their win against Santa Clara, and Santa Clara actually had some impressive wins this season. That's not just a rollover game, and they stomped them 80-52, a pretty decent Santa Clara team, actually, and Reagan picked up her 21st career double-double. She's played in 39 games and is at 21 double-doubles for her career. Remember, she wasn't even getting a ton of time, a ton of minutes.
For like at least her first dozen games. Yeah,
so... It's a team. You don't want it to come down to injury luck, but they've had it so far this season, and they just couldn't stay healthy last year. But they're looking good, and they've got an opportunity to get back on track to the Ruick type team that we know and love.
Well, I think health is a huge component of that, of course, but so is just like maturity, development, familiarity with the system. The last 2 years were like a big reshuffle of youth, and now there's a bit more continuity. And we talked about Kennedy Schuler and the likes, and there's definitely still some newer, younger players on the team, but the core now has played together, and even with injuries last year, like with Talia, they've developed an identity, and it's very clear now. And I hope that the rest of the country can see it as they play outside of Gill. That I know Gill is a great home court advantage, but let's just chalk it up to that these ladies are extremely talented and they're playing really, really well together, and that Ruick has plugged all the right holes for what this team needs, from transfers to freshman recruits. They're looking set up, and I think I said it 3 episodes ago that they're going to make a deep run, and I can guarantee you they're going to surprise everybody with how far they go.
Yeah, I mean, these are the games that they have to win, right? Like, as I understand it, the Pac-12 is going to be just as strong as they normally are.
8 teams in the tournament field in the way too early bracketology.
Yeah, so you're going to have a gauntlet coming up. It would be great if we are undefeated starting that gauntlet. So I wouldn't say, I mean, these
don't
are
worry about Oregon
games. What's that?
I said you don't got to worry about Oregon.
Well,
yeah, Oregon's a good maybe.
So a gauntlet -1.
I'm just going to take
1 for sure.
To prove my point about Santa Clara. So I have Santa Clara's schedule here, and I'm just going to point to a random game. I'm not looking, and I guarantee you whatever game I point to, the result will show that Santa Clara is a pretty good team that makes Oregon State's win against them ever more impressive. So, and let's see, what did I land on? Saturday, November 18th at Oregon. An 89-50 win for Santa Clara over the Ducks. That is the random game that I pointed to.
Wow.
Did I know that they had played the Ducks? I don't know that I had known that. So anyway, Santa Clara, no slouch. Oregon State wins 80-52. But yes, you get Southeast Louisiana. They play Texas Tech tomorrow. The day, 3 days after Christmas, they have another game against Morgan State before Pac-12 play starts. With the aforementioned Ducks. Morgan State. Morgan State Bears, I believe.
Morgan State.
And before spending New Year's Eve afternoon with the aforementioned Ducks at Gill Coliseum at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Let's Phil Gill for that one.
Phil Gill. I don't even think that was Oregon's worst loss because Utah, technically speaking, they had a worse one today.
Utah, technically speaking, is that a euphemism?
You should check out their schedule because they
This is not an Oregon podcast, but yeah,
Utah.
The Oregon Ducks did lose to Utah Tech 92-86 tonight, Tuesday, December 19th. It was a road game though, and as we know, Utah Tech, the Utah Tech
powerhouse,
the Utah Tech Trailblazers.
Hey,
what?
Nice.
But Trailblazers is one word, not two.
Oh, is that where Greg Oden ended up?
Yeah, he's the university president there right now. He's the best university president in the country. Where even the hell is Utah? Public University in St. George, Utah.
Oh wow, I bet that's a place.
I smoked pot with St. George.
Yeah.
Oh, JP went dark. Okay. Well,
I'm looking up where St. George, Utah is. Oh, weird. In the middle of nowhere. Nah. Yeah, it actually is.
We should put a bow on this episode. Also, men's next non-conference game is also at Gill on Thursday night against Idaho State. Get out to Corvallis, Phil Gill, support Oregon State men's and women's basketball, and keep that undefeated mark at Gill intact, y'all.
Let's do it.
Build the dam, fill the Gill, rally the legend. Benny, you and I were going back and forth about a completely non-Oregon State related issue about why we're mad at Major League Soccer right now. We won't talk about that on the pod because it's irrelevant, but I'm happy with Major League Soccer today because today was the day of the MLS SuperDraft, and we got some pretty good news, cool news at the top. With the number 3 overall pick, FC Dallas selects our boy Logan Farrington out of Oregon State University. My guy, Andrew Wiebe, with the Freudian slip at the top on the draft broadcast, said out of the University of Oregon State. It happens, but don't ever let it happen again. MLS
Andrew Dweeby.
That's like when the recruits that were really never coming here do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm decommitting from the University of Oregon State.
But FC Dallas
could have told you were going to do that.
Drafted him number 3. They traded up from the 15 spot to get all the way up to number 3. They gave Inter Miami about $300K in various different types of allocation money, which is the MLS version of Monopoly money, to move up 12 spots from 15 to 3 to get Logan Farrington. And then with their second round pick, they drafted defender Turner Humphrey out of Oregon State as well. And they also have Tiki Ntabayang on their roster already. So as it stands, preseason hasn't started yet. We'll see some roster shakeup for sure, but 3 Beavs on the squad over at FC Dallas. So if you're listening to us and you feel like, oh, maybe I could get into MLS, but I don't really fuck with the Timbers because the owner's a dick. Just need a team to cheer for. Right now, FC Dallas is your team because there's three of our guys on it. So, and Farrington will for sure make the team. Best of luck to Turner and Tiki to get those roster spots come the regular season. But right now, FC Dallas, their uniforms are red and blue, but they got some orange and black flavor going on down there in Dallas right now.
If you're colorblind, did you see though? This was the 3 draft selections was the highest in program history.
I did not see that. I imagined that. Though.
The what?
So Turner Humphrey went to Dallas in the second round, and then also in the second round, Atlanta drafted Javier Armas.
Oh, okay. The amount of players.
So 3 total players, and congrats to Javier. Atlanta is always pretty good. that could be a great fit for him down there. Fun stadium, fun atmosphere.
Yeah.
And Farrington became the third Beav selected in the top 3, joining Danny Mwanga and Kyrie Shelton, who is still playing for Sporting Kansas City as three Beavs. Danny I believe Kyrie was number 3 to NYCFC the year he was drafted. Danny was number 1 to Philly in 2010.
That's right.
Dang.
They had that great Danny Mwanga, one of the top individual chants ever. I've been too performative on the show already, so I'll stop. But
Perry's about to go on Broadway here soon.
I can't believe Danny Mwanga is like retired. That blows my mind.
I know.
Yeah, I know, right?
Didn't he? He had a farewell season for playing on the Timbers, didn't he?
That wasn't his farewell season. He was still grinding it out then.
Yeah.
I think he played for Orlando again after that, and then maybe came back and played for T2
and
a
Colorado
little bit for kicks.
He did play for Colorado.
I think it was supposed to be like maybe a farewell, but maybe stick around for a bit.
Yeah.
Season with the Timbers that year.
Yeah.
That was only his third year in the league.
He used to score.
Oh,
bangers,
really?
Dude. Yeah.
Well, I did hear that the trade with Miami, it was either between the number 3 pick or Lionel Messi, but I think they made the smart move.
That's Logan. Yeah, exactly. They had the same grade on Farrington as Messi.
Yeah.
Lionel Farrington, as he's known on the Belligerent Beavs podcast.
The fair go.
Congrats to Logan. Congrats to Turner. Congrats to Javier, and congrats to Greg Dalby on another fantastic. Another congrats on a great, fantastic season. And then also just this, stamp on what you accomplish. It sucks to lose players always, but this really reaffirms the work that you put in and the way that professional soccer in this country views the output of Oregon State men's soccer players. So cool day for the program, and wanted to make sure we got to that and didn't let it get lost in the transfer portal shuffle.
Yeah, good point.
Well, we're not quite 100 minutes in. This is a tight episode for us.
It
is. Everything we covered. Covered the portal. We covered signing day to come, which is probably yesterday now at the time you're listening to this, the schedule, Supreme Court rulings, JP.
Judicial matters.
This episode had a little bit of Belligerent Thursday, December 21st, 8 p.m. Pacific time. God, I'm going to stay up so late because of this podcast again. Twice in 1 week.
I'm so old.
Thanks.
We are getting older. When we had to shuffle timing this week, I wasn't totally kidding about recording on Sunday mornings. I honestly think it might be good for all of us. We could have mimosas during it and shit.
No.
We're one step away from having brunch, doing a live recording and having brunch.
Or early bird special.
Belligerent Beavs.
I want the listener needs to understand this is midnight. It is almost midnight Central Time right now.
It's 11:40.
11:43. That's almost midnight. It's almost midnight.
Yeah.
That is technically almost midnight.
That's so far past my bedtime.
Well,
see,
you all are old.
The things I do
I have
for
3
you.
kids.
Yeah,
this is my time to shine. Yeah. I have no other time.
I guess that does make it hard. We can't record in the morning because then JP's kids are awake and need him to do a million things.
Yeah.
Man.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You probably do more things on Sunday morning than I do in the entire week. Just like things in general.
I don't know. You have your baby plants at least.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you shower this morning, JP? Yeah. Then you did more things than Benny and I.
I did not this morning. Congrats, Benny. We're even.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for making Fee feel better.
Incredible.
I got you.
All right. Well, when we start comparing shower to-do list and hygiene matters, it is time to say goodnight. So thank you for listening to this special Christmas week version of the Belligerent Beavs podcast. We really appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, please rate, review, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And please share the show with a friend. It really helps us grow the show with a lot. As we said, the three of us are best friends from college. We're going to get together and talk shit and make fun of each other, whether you like it or not. But it's fun to have the listeners here, and it's fun to get the chance to meet y'all and just engage in Beaver fandom with our great community, especially this time of all time. So like, subscribe, rate, review wherever you get your podcast. 5 stars only, please, and give the gift of belligerence to all of your loved ones by telling them about this podcast. A special shout out to Eric, who I met at Udapils Brewing in Minneapolis on Sunday during a brewery yoga class that I hadn't gone to for a while. And the instructor gave me some flack and brought up Belligerent Beavs out of nowhere. It's like, Terry hasn't been here for a while. He's probably been recording his Oregon State podcast. So if there's another Oregon State fan here, talk to him after class. And Eric's daughter is a senior at Oregon State.
Let's go.
Came up to say what's up.
Go. That's
what's
awesome.
the name of the podcast? Okay, yeah, she's not a huge sports fan, but I'll let her know. I'm sure she loves it out there. So shout out, Eric. If you listen to this episode, thank you so much, and I'll see you again at yoga sometime soon. Not this Sunday because it's Christmas Day. We'd be unhinged to go to something like that. But after that, in the new year. And for everyone, please follow us everywhere on the socials. We can be found at Belligerent Beavs on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Belligerent Beavs on Instagram, at Belligerent Beavs on TikTok, Belligerent Beavs on Facebook. We've got a Blue Sky that I'm not sure we're checking. Are people at Blue Sky? I don't know. Threads, something. And also just belligerentbeavs.com, belligerentbeavs.com/merch. And Belligerent Beavs on YouTube. We have been stepping up the video content this football season for sure. So share those videos, watch them. You can, we used to say it's a podcast for your ears, not for your eyes, but now it's sometimes for your eyes whenever we release video segment. And they're fun. They're short. They're fun. They're grand. They're shareable.
They're fun.
Yeah, exactly,
They
Benny.
tickle your brain.
Yeah, they do on the inside.
Your brain.
Right
and joining me
middle.
on this podcast, as they always do, my beloved co-hosts and best friends from college, Benjamin Lawrence, Sebastian Wehage, a.k.a. Benny with the good cough, a.k.a. Benny Bull Game, except he's not going to El Paso, a.k.a. Benny Bedlam because he's fucking crazy, folks, a.k.a. Benny Burner, which is coming in handy during the transfer portal, a.k.a. Benny Blastoff, and at Benny L. 1986 on the social media channels. Shout out Benny, always. And of course, behind the ones and twos, the man steering the ship, J.P. Bertram. You can follow him on X, formerly known as Twitter, at the Trio, at the _Trio_J, because he's too trial to be real, and on Instagram at J.P. Bertram. And you can follow me as well. I can be found on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Terry Horseman, and at Terrence Horseman on Instagram, where I may or may not be reading more British poetry, Christmas themed, for if you like or not, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Ebenezer Scrooge type shit. Whatever. I get excited during the holidays, you guys, and I'm excited for our bowl game and excited for all things Belligerent on Thursday and all things Beaver fandom, the Sun Bowl, basketball. We're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from baseball and softball season and all the spring sports, gymnastics getting going.
Yeah.
Grind, don't stop. Hustle, don't quit.
Can't stop, won't stop.
And I'm always more and more excited every day that no matter what, and no matter what they try, and no matter how many times they appeal our justifiable court winnings and all that shit, you can't spell chop 'em without hope. So chop 'em.
Chop 'em.
Chop 'em.
We love you, Cody.
Stole the words out of my mouth.